Hi everyone and welcome to episode 76 of SAMA. SAMA is a series where we invite an expert to talk about their area of expertise. Today it's only me, but we're going to talk about the two magics that we have. The wee magic, little magic, and the big magic. Now, what is magic? Magic is a pulsed EMF device. When we were developing these devices, we were really surprised at how effective they were. We knew they were going to be good, but we didn't realize how good they were going to be. And so we used to, during the development, start calling them magic because it was the word that best fitted their performance. And the word kind of stuck. So we decided, well, we'll just call it little magic. And that's what we ended up with. Now, I'll show you the units before we start the presentation. This is our little magic. This is the first unit that we created. It's a device that's portable. It's got a simple knob in the front for setting the power levels. It's got a coil. It's actually a twin coil. So you can either stack them together for extra strength. You know, it doubles the magnetic field intensity, or you can have it either side of a problem area like a knee or shoulder or neck. It's got a simple on-off button, and that's pretty much it. Very simple to use. Just clip it onto your clothing and you're away. This is part of our MiraMate range of products. Now we've also got Spooky, but Spooky is quite complicated, and we want to differentiate something which you can just turn on and forget, run, from something which is quite complex and you need a computer and a computer program. And so we decided we'll start a new brand range. And so MiraMate, Mira being miracle and mate being a friend. So it's a miracle friend. And this is our baby one. Very simple to use. Now its big brother's come out fairly recently. And this is its big brother. Now you can see it's not a portable unit. It's more powerful, and it's designed for long-term use. So it has a mat. There's the mat here. I wonder if I can show. That's the mat there. It's about two foot long. Is that right? 2 feet 600. Yeah, 2 feet long. It's designed to be slept on. So you just put it underneath your bedding and have overnight treatments. Because it's a low power unit, you can just leave it on all the time, even during the daytime when you're not in bed. This unit has got the on-off switch here. 3-level power switch. The power plugs in there. And on the other side, it's also got the switch for turning on and off a glowing light. If you have this on a bedside cabinet, the glowing light might keep you awake at night. And so you can turn that off. There's just an option there. Both of these units have a coil tester just to make sure that everything's working. And this is this unit here. I'll show you this in action. Now, both of these units have got the same adapter. You can use the same adapter for both. So I'm going to show you in the Mini Magic. Just turn it on, and if I can get the lighting right, the light starts flashing. And you put the coil tester just over the coil like this, and the light starts flashing like that. Now, because I'm using a magnetic microphone, you might be able to hear the ticking. I'm not sure if you can hear that. I'll stack them so they're more powerful. But that's the little magic ticking away there. The larger magic, it is more powerful, but the field is over a greater area. So the field strength for a certain area is less. It's hard to see the lights with the lighting of the camera now, but it's on at the moment. I'll plug in the mat and see if you can hear the mat. Let's see, it goes in this way. There we go. And we'll turn it on again. Now I'll place the mat over the microphone. I'm not sure if you can hear it, but you should be able to hear it ticking. Oops. The power's come off again. The ticking is a different pattern than the mini magic, and we'll be getting into more details about that shortly as well. The coil tester you just placed in the center of the coil, and you'll see the flashing. Now that is currently off, and it's off because the power's off, which means you probably couldn't have heard the ticking before. You can see the flashing now on the coil tester. It's a different pattern from the mini magic. Okay, I'll repeat the exercise with the ticking. If you can hear that ticking, you'll hear that it's a faster tick. It's the Schumann resonance, 7.83 hertz. Okay, well, without any further ado, we'll start into this PowerPoint that we have prepared for you. So to do that, I'll share the screen and we'll get underway. Okay, and there we go. MiraMate Q&A. I'll see if I can move my box away a little bit. Oops. One thing with this software, you lose the control of your mouse. What I'll do, I'll exit out of this one and I'll move my soft one aside so you can see the presentation better. And we're away again. Okay, the introduction. What is pulsed EMF? Well, it's quite a fancy name. It's an abbreviation for a very long name. It's an acronym for pulsed electromagnetic field therapy. It's better known as pulsed EMF because it's easier to say. It is a safe and natural way to literally recharge your body so it can travel the path to better health. Pulsed EMF targets your body at a cellular level to stimulate cell metabolism and improve your health. Numerous disorders, diseases, and injuries benefit from pulsed EMF treatments, and there are none of the harmful side effects commonly associated with prescription drugs and medical procedures. And goodness knows we're getting enough of drugs pushed down our throats every day, literally every day now. Pulsed EMF is a completely safe and natural form of treatment, proven in countless scientific studies to provide astonishing results. Everyone everywhere can benefit from pulsed EMF, and even animals. Animals love sitting on the mat. Pulsed EMF works like magic. We'll be talking today about both the big magic and the mini magic. The big magic Q&A. The first question, is big magic portable? Well, it's a bit big to be portable, really. It's really designed for long-term use. So overnight treatments or 1 hour type sessions where you're lying on a mat of some sort. It's not fast in its treatment, it's steady. And so for long-term chronic conditions, it's ideal. It's not portable like its little brother, mini magic. What is the material of the mat? Can I use it directly on my skin? The material is PVC. It shouldn't produce any allergic reactions for people, and so it can be used directly on the skin. But it's not very comfortable because it's shiny and it's got a bit of a texture to it. It would be more comfortable if it had a sheet over the top. And for extra comfort, you can place a towel over the mat, and that gets rid of any tiny any tiny bumps that are on the mat. It makes it more comfortable. Okay, I saw my phone flash. A question has come through. Ian Warner, you've asked, can I use spooky plasma and big magic at the same time while I sleep? Well, the good news is, Ian, yes, you can. There's no interference between the two units. Mike Kai, you've asked, I noticed it sounds like a steady ticking or pulsing sound. Yes, we're talking about the big magic there, because the big magic has got the pulsing sound. That's right, Micah. We'll be talking about the program just in a short while, but it is a steady ticking. It does have a bit of a change, but we'll go into the details very soon. Thank you for those two questions. Okay, the question, what are the dimensions? What are the dimensions of the mat? Well, that's 23 inches, almost 2 foot long by 7 inches wide. So it's 60 centimeters by 20 centimeters. So it's a good size. It covers your spine if you've got spinal problems, or your thigh, leg area. I had a cause to use it 3 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago. I got a terrible twinge in my left leg. Every time I lifted it, it was incredibly painful. Whether it was a sciatica nerve or whatever, I just didn't care. I just wanted the pain gone. And I used mini magic on it, and it got better, but then it got worse again. I really thought that there was something really seriously wrong, like a nerve that was being pinched, and poor little magic couldn't fix it. And so I tried big magic on it. And of course, nothing happened for the first night. I thought, oh gosh, I'm wasting my time again. But I left it running. And on the second night, yeah, there was a definite improvement. And by the fourth night, my leg was 100%. Now, it was important because I had a baby marathon coming up, and I didn't want to be missing out on that. I mean, it's a fun event. And so my leg was fully recovered by the time the marathon came, which was last Sunday. And my leg's giving no trouble whatsoever. So it's not like a fast-acting device like mini magic. It's more for a chronic condition that you've had for a while, and it will take a while to resolve, but it does. Now, my leg actually got painful since a holiday. We did a tour of the UK and France, and I slept. This is what I think what happened. I slept under a earthing mat, and it was in a high apartment. And if you use an earthing mat, it's pretty important to use a true ground, not your power socket ground. And an apartment's up high, the power, when it goes such a long distance without the earth peg into the ground, it gets quite noisy. There's a lot of electrical signals that are even in the ground signal. And so I think I was subjecting my body to unhealthy signals. And the result was my leg giving trouble. And it didn't get better either over a long period of time until I used the big magic. As I say, it didn't take one night. It took 2 nights to start getting better. It took about 4 to get fully resolved. But after that, well, it's absolutely 100%. Now, I heard my phone buzzing, which means more messages coming through. Yes. Micah, what size portable battery bank can be used with Big Magic? That's a good question. Big Magic doesn't use a terrific amount of power because the pulses are very powerful but very brief. And so the average power isn't very high. Now, the battery bank that I have been using with the Big Magic is around 5,000 milliamp hours. It's a 5 amp output. I just plug it into the USB port that's on the battery bank. I don't think you need a very large one, especially if it's going to just last for one night. So I'd say maybe 4,000 or 5,000 milliamp hours. These units aren't very expensive now, so maybe you can get a larger one. Ian Warner, if I want to help my spine with Big Magic, but I like to sleep on my side, How deep will it penetrate? Well, that's a good question. We'll be talking about penetration soon. Now, I'll give a quick answer now, and we'll go into more detail during the presentation. Magnetic fields will penetrate your body fully, no matter how far away you are. There's a misunderstanding. People think that the body blocks magnetic fields, but no, the body is absolutely transparent to magnetic fields and they pass through your body, unimpeded. So really we're talking about what is the effective range of the mat of the big magic. Now I sleep both on my back and my side, and in any position. I move a lot in my sleep. And my issue was on my left leg. I tried to sleep on my left side so that my leg was closest to the mat. But of course, when I wake up, I'm on my right, or somewhere where I'm not supposed to be. If you've got a back issue, but you sleep on your side, your back, I guess, would be something like 300, I'll talk in imperial, about 12 inches away from the mat, I'm guessing, for most people. You'll still get a magnetic field at that point. It will not be as strong as if you're lying flat on your back. Maybe you can go to sleep on your back, and then you can, of course, wake up in your normal position, but see if you can sleep on your back so your spine, the cartilage, the bones of your spine are closer to the mat for maybe half an hour or so until you get into autopilot mode in your sleep. But you will be getting a benefit. Now, the mat emulates the natural magnetic field which the Earth is producing, which is the Schumann resonance, which is 7.83 hertz. I got it right this time. Now, the mat mirrors this exactly, but it gives it out, something like 10,000 times greater magnitude. And so it doesn't need to be a very high magnitude. They've done tests with people where they've blocked the natural Schumann resonance, and their health declined markedly. And so this frequency is necessary for health. We've evolved through the millennia with this frequency all around us. It's everywhere around us. And so it's become a necessary part of our lives. If we had evolved in a different planet, then we'd be singing to a different tune. But no, we're singing to 7.83 hertz. There are other frequencies, but that's the larger one, the more powerful one. The mat mirrors the more powerful Schumann natural resonance at a greater power level. So even if your spine is 12 inches away, you will be getting a stronger signal than the Earth is naturally providing. I'll just check to make sure if there's any other questions. Yeah, the questions are flooding in. Great. Micah Kai, I've been sleeping and sitting with big magic inside the scalar field. Is it okay, or does it interfere with the field? No, again, same as with the plasma, Micah, the scalar field doesn't interact with the magnetic field. There is a thing which I'll be talking about in the presentation where it's wise to keep the big magic or any metal objects away from both the transmitter and the receiver and the cable that links the two. And for those of you who haven't got a spooky scalar yet, you don't know what you're missing. Yeah, they're amazing. When you read the testimonials of people that have recovered from stage 4 cancers, it's just a different ballgame altogether. But we're digressing. Today we're talking about magic. Lucy Theodas, you've asked a question, Lucy. What is scalar field? Gosh, we're getting a bit off the beaten track. Okay, a scalar field is the field of scalar energy, which is between the two scalar units of spooky scalar. When you're within this field, it's an information field. If you put a substance on the receiver coil, which is where it gets converted to, where electrical signals get converted to a scalar signal, the information of that substance then is transferred back to the transmitter. If you sit between the two units, your body retrieves that information. What people have been doing is they've been putting a sample of their urine and their blood, adding a chemotherapy drug to that, to themselves, if you like, putting that on the receiver coil, sitting between the two, and then getting miraculous results from different types of cancers, because the information of the cancer cells dying, is transferred to your body, and those cells, the cancer cells that are in your body, also die. But please, let's keep on focusing on big magic. I know scale is super interesting, but hey, magic's interesting as well. How many coils are in the mat, and do you feel them when you lie on it? Well, it's not actually a mat, even though we call it a mat, because, well, it is a mat, but there's no coil inside it. There's a special planar coil that's inside it, but we don't use any wires for the coil. We do that because we make it more comfortable, and also it means it lasts longer. You can hardly feel it when you lie on it. Well, I can say from personal experience that you do feel it when you lie on it. Maybe I'm a bit of a sleeping princess who feels the pee in the underneath them, but I'm pretty sensitive for what I can feel underneath, and I can feel the mat. But if I use something like a towel underneath, then it's perfectly fine for me. Maybe I'm a little bit very sensitive, but it's certainly not too lumpy. It's okay. You hardly feel it when you lie on it. I guess that's true. And what is the effective treatment distance? This is the question I was answering before. It's about 12 inches, but it's even more. All we're talking about is the diminishing magnetic field. The further away you get, the weaker the field will be. Bear in mind that the field is very, very sharp. And when you get a very fast lead-in and a very fast decay in the magnetic field, you don't need the strength. So this is why you don't need to use a pulsed EMF unit that's strong enough to drive a nail through the ceiling, as I've seen in demonstrations on YouTube. Yeah, they're powerful, but they haven't got the signal shape, and the shape is important. It's kind of like when you're trying to swing a child on a swing and you're pushing them at the wrong times. You can use as much force as you like, but they're not going to swing high. If you get the synchronization right, just a gentle tap will get your child swinging very, very high indeed. What is the frequency and program of big magic? Well, the frequency of the big magic is the Schumann main resonance of 7.83, which is a natural Earth frequency. And there's the backdrop, what I'm using at the moment, actually. It's a natural frequency. Now, it's really interesting. Now, the presentation doesn't say this. This frequency is actually caused by lightning strikes. The lightning strike creates a pulse of energy. This energy goes flying around the Earth and hits itself on the other side and rings back again. It goes like this at 7.83 times per second. Isn't that incredible? And so it's actually caused by lightning strikes. So, yeah, that's what spooky magic is emulating, lightning strikes. What is the waveform? The waveform was square, nothing special, but it's extremely sharp. Each pulse lasts for 100 microseconds. That's 100 millionths of a second. This rapid pulse penetrates the cells easily, and a small current is induced within the cell. Induced means like creating. It creates a small current in the cell. Now, most of you will be familiar with TENS pads or even hand cylinders where you hold on to this device and the electricity passes through your body. Well, actually, pulsed EMF is no different. It's inducing the current, though, rather than doing it directly. And there are several benefits. Possibly the greatest benefit is the signal is not distorted. When you're holding on to hand cylinders, even though the signal may be perfectly square, if you measure the signal, it becomes rounded because your body is actually a giant capacitor, and capacitors don't like sharp edges. However, pulsed EMF units, because the magnetic field passes through your body so easily, it's unaffected by the capacitance in your body. And so if you apply a perfectly square magnetic field, or one that's almost perfectly square, the current that's induced in your cells will also have the same beautiful sharp edges that biological cells love. It's not affected by the capacitance in the body. So I just bandy about these technical words. What are the technical parameters of big magic? The total magnetic field strength of big magic is, drum roll please, 2,500 gauss. Now that's not a huge magnetic strength, and it's also spread over quite a large area. The area is around 30 times larger than the coils of mini magic, and the flux density, which means the strength, if you like, per area using high power, is 80 gauss. Now this is quite a bit less than mini magic, a smaller unit. You'd think it would be greater, but because it's over a larger area, you see, the intensity will be less. In low power, it drops again to 25 gauss. But with those beautiful sharp edges, you don't need the high intensity. And it's certainly keeping away from any dangerous zones. Is there a warranty for big magic? That stamp gives it away, doesn't it? Big magic comes with a 12 months manufacturer warranty for the pulse unit. So, gosh, this sounds like a sentence that we hear in the marketing and the advertisements you see on TV. So in the unlikely event of a malfunction, you can send it back and we'll send you a replacement as soon as possible. Now, the warranty doesn't cover the mat, water, or physical damage. And so if you want to give the magic a bit of a bath, it may not like it so much being electronic, or if it gets left out in the rain. So just take care, make sure it doesn't get any water on it. And the mat itself, we didn't design it to have a life. We designed it to last forever. Of course, nothing lasts forever. It all depends on how carefully you handle it. So the mat, if you don't flex it too much, it's best if the mattress is firm. But of course, you know, who's going to change the mattress just for incidental treatment for pulse TMF? So that you're going to just throw it under the mattress that over the mattress that you have, right? Well, it can be flexed. It's designed to be flexible, but if it can be made so it's reasonably firm, it will last longer. Now, I think I heard a question come through, so I'll just check up. Okay, Ian Warner, you're asking, if I usually sleep with a grounding blanket, will that interfere with big magic? The answer is yes, it will interfere. So when you're using big magic, it's best not to have the grounding blanket even over yourself, not even plugged in and over yourself. Completely remove it. And with my experience with using a grounding mat on a high apartment, this was it was above the 10th floor, then yeah, I'd be cautious to use one at all in an apartment, unless you can figure out some way of driving a physical earth peg into the ground. But don't use a grounding blanket, please, with big magic, or with any of the, all the scalar device as well. Cheryl Lynn, you've asked, can you program different frequencies? A place I go has those, and I thought they programmed it. Some pulse DMF units are programmable. Our one isn't. The MiraMate range, we wanted something that can just be turned on and run. They don't need programming or anything complicated. Nothing, no excessive bells or whistles, even though he did put a glowing light on this unit, which you can't see because it's too dark to see, but it's glowing at the moment. But no, there's no programs that can be entered into this unit. It's really because the earth frequencies there's only really one frequency, one language that the earth speaks. So we wanted MiraMate to speak the same language, and that is really the optimum. If we start having programs for sleep induction, alpha, beta waves, and all the rest of it. It's deviating from that. From our research, we found that much of that was really just marketing ploys. It's like a horsepower game. Our unit can do this, our unit can do that. But we focused more on integrity of the signal and making sure that it's optimized for producing results rather than optimized for filling in the specifications chart for sales. Okay, so no, our unit isn't programmable. It comes with a fixed program. Okay, moving on. What side of the Big Magic mat should face the skin? Well, you can use either side to face the skin because the signal reverses. The signal reverses every 10 minutes. It changes because that way you can avoid overcharging the cells in your body. You don't want your whole body to become charged in one direction. And so every 10 minutes, it reverses polarity. Now, it is more comfortable to have the power wire, which enters the mat on the underside. The reason being, there's a bump. I don't know if you can see that. There's a bump here. There we go. And that just gets a little bit uncomfortable. And so let's turn it around the other side. And the other side has only got a small bump, not a big bump. What conditions can Big Magic treat? Well, ideally, chronic conditions. These are conditions that you've had for a long period of time and they just won't go away. These are conditions like nerve damage, joint problems, and other things which other ways just haven't solved the problem. And you can place the mat under your sheet, under your bedding, and just forget it. And what you'll find is that you're having breakfast and you're thinking, yeah, hang on a moment, where's my ache gone? You're just feeling better, which is, I guess, the ideal sort of situation. With our mini magic, you've got to have the coil strapped to you as you wear it, and that's a little bit inconvenient. It is faster in the results, though. Does it take long for each session? How long does it take? Well, it's gentle, so it's ideal for long-term health problems. It's been designed for repeated overnight use. The program that's within Big Magic cycles every 20 minutes. Every 10 minutes, it reverses the cycle. So it means it's a complete reversal and then back to the beginning again. And so I would recommend a minimum of 20 minutes. You can leave it running even though you're not in the bed during the daytime because the power consumption is so low. I reckon a dime a day. Very, very low. Nothing gets hot. It just sits there quietly humming to itself, patiently waiting for you to return at night time to soak up the healthy signals from the mat again. And that sort of device suits me too, because I tend to be extremely busy. My mind is all over the place quite often, ideas. I do the programming, the design of hardware and everything. So I'm all over the place. This is one less thing I've got to remember, to turn something on before hopping into bed. I just don't even think about it. And my confession for today is, it was a while since my left leg nerve problem got solved. I've still got magic running. I've still got the mat running on my bed. I just like it so much. Sometimes I have a bit of a sore lower back. Not really sore. It's just more stiff, I guess. And I don't get that now. And so that's my confession. I've still got it running. Yeah. I'm supposed to have returned it back to the office, but it's not going back. I've just heard another question come in from Louise Beer. Louise is asking, My daughter suffers from epilepsy due to a lesion in her brain. Would the big magic be helpful for this? Gosh, Louise, I'm not a doctor, and I haven't had anyone that has seizures try the mat, so I don't know. I know that mini magic is fantastic for Parkinson's, which is a disorder of misfiring neurons in the brain. What they do is they put the coils from mini magic across the temples of the brain, and that's steadied their body movements and brought about a greater quality of life. But I don't know about epilepsy, whether it would induce or whether it would go the other way and help. So ask someone who knows more than me. We don't have any feedback that I know of. Check out spooky2reviews.com, search for epilepsy and see if there's any results that come up using either of the magics. The magics are quite new devices, so there might not be anything out there yet, but I don't know the answer to that, sorry. Can mini magic be used at the same time as big magic for extra benefit? Sure. The fields of big magic and mini magic extend about the same distance, and they don't interfere with each other or cancel each other out. You can lie down on the mat over the big magic and use mini magic on the same body part. Now, the programs are different, so you won't get the pulses at the same time, and so this is why the signals don't interfere with each other. The big magic is more like it's like, I guess, if you're lying down in bed and you've got someone sitting on a chair next to the bed, gently humming to you. It's that type of thing. It's just a gentle, very rhythmic healing process. Whereas mini magic is quite more, well, the word's not, it's more intense, I guess, in its program. And so it changes programs quite regularly and also inverts the signals quite regularly and various intensities as well. So it's quite a complicated signal that the mini magic puts out. So they don't interfere with each other. Okay, I heard my phone go again. Excuse me while I look at my phone. At the beginning of the seminar, I was saying how terrible it was, and now I'm doing it, but it's for work, okay? Okay, well, if you can call this work, it's fun. Okay, Ian Warner. Ian, you're keeping me busy today. Good on you, brother. Aside from portability, would Spooky Central pulsed EMF coil suffice for acute treatment rather than mini magic? Okay, so it's really what, Ian, you're comparing mini magic with Spooky Central. No, the signals are very, very different, and the units are designed for different purposes. And so even portability aside, because Spooky Central certainly isn't portable, acute treatment, because mini magic has been designed for acute conditions, I'd use mini magic. You've got to remember that the coil that's in that's for the central unit, that's really designed for killing pathogens, and it's been designed to work together with contact mode as well. It's synchronized with the contact mode signal. And so it's a totally different ballgame. It's really designed to kill viruses, whereas mini magic, even though it does kill viruses, which is a bit of an aside, it only kills viruses because the signal's so sharp. It was a bit of an accident, really. But we found it killed the bacteria that was causing tooth decay and also sore throat. We had the calls up against a person with a sore throat, and it cleared that up. That was just by accident, just because the signal's so pure. But no, it's really for different purposes, the Spooky Central coil. So it wouldn't be you couldn't use one instead of the other. Okay, and you've ordered a big magic and a Spooky Central and audio. Gosh, it's a long question. can I run a 3-foot extension cable to extend the spooky central coil? If you extend now we're talking about a different type of coil, it's not a magic, a spooky central coil. If you make the wire longer, it will make the signal less pure. But if it's only like 3 feet, it wouldn't be by a huge amount. And so you would be able to still get away with it. The coil in spooky central gives a high voltage spike and it's synchronized with the contact mode. Because it doesn't have to be so square as the beautiful magics, then you'll be able to get away with it. So that would be no problem. Okay, back to the magics. I plan to sleep with both the Big Magic and Spooky 2 scalar tonight. Is it okay? Now, this is a question which I was asked earlier, and it is okay, but just make sure that the magics are distant from the scalar transmitter and receiver units. And just as a double check, just make sure the scalar is tuned correctly after you've got everything set up. And there's a web link there for people who want to get more details of that answer. What are the differences between mini magic and big magic? Well, big magic is better for long-term conditions, and mini magic is better for sudden injuries, like sports injuries. Now, big magic does take longer to heal. It could take a week. It could probably take even longer, really. But mini magic can get results quicker, and getting good results within half an hour is possibly the norm, really. Most people get results very quickly. How does big magic differ from other pulsed EMF mats on the market? Well, our one's beautiful. But there's more differences. Now, most pulsed EMF units only apply a single pulse. It's usually a more powerful pulse, and the pulse is in the same direction all the time. Spooky Big Magic reverses the signal every 10 minutes. So after a long treatment, the overall charge that's been applied to your body will be zero, neutral. Although the mitochondria, which are the battery cells within your cells, the batteries within your cells, will gain energy. Another difference, and this is a big one, this should be the first thing really, that's the waveform. The waveform produced by Big Magic is extremely sharp. Any sharper, you'd cut yourself on it. It's sharper than almost any other pulsed EMF unit, and the sharpness allows the signal to induce a stronger signal within the cells. Okay, we're into mini magic. I just checked to make sure that there's no other questions that are rolled in since the one from Ian Warner. No, we're good to go on mini magic. I'll take a bit of a drink before we get started. That was my 5-second intermission. What frequency does mini magic use? Scientific studies have found that 9.6 is an excellent frequency for pulsed EMF healing. Big magic is using the Schumann resonance. Mini magic is using different principles for healing. Now, all of the programs in mini magic are based on this frequency. It's either that frequency or some form of harmonic of that frequency. However, and this is a big however, mini magic is not just about frequencies. It's possibly more about patterns of frequencies. Inside the humble exterior of mini magic is a miniature computer. And this miniature computer calculates the perfectly timed magnetic pulses, helping your body to overcome injury and illness. And there's a link at the bottom of this page for more information on this answer too. Now, a really cool fact is there's more computer power inside this than there was in the Apollo 11. Now, I'd say that Apollo 11 was programmed by smarter people than myself, but nevertheless, it's a little bit of a fun fact. What is the range of the electromagnetic field of mini magic? The range, we're talking about the effective range again. It's roughly 10 inches. The coils are opposing each other, the range is deeper. When the coils are opposing each other, they form a special configuration, and the magnetic field between the coils is the same for the whole length, rather than going less and less and less the further away you get. And so it's ideal for distances which are quite large to have the coils on either side of the problem area, like your chest or your shoulder, something like that. And you can see the three different configurations here. On the left, you have the coils side by side, so it's a larger area. When they're opposing each other, the coils are better for penetration. Now that graphic is hard to see, but when you have them opposing each other, you have it in that sort of orientation. And you can stack the coils as well. And when you stack them, the field gets stronger. When you stack them, you have the side with the lumps on them facing each other. So it's smooth on either side of the coils. And that doubles the power, the magnetic field strength that's being produced by the coils. What is the magnetic gauze output of MiriMagic? You know, people always ask us, what is the gauze? What's the gauze? Has anyone ever seen a gauze? We haven't seen a gauze, but we work with gauzes all the time. We are living in gauzes. The earth is bathed in natural gauzes, magnetic fields. A gauze is just a number. It's kind of like speed. When you buy a car, you don't ask them, well, I don't, is it a 100-mile-an-hour car? Knowing full well that I can only drive it at 50 miles an hour. Well, the Magics have got a gauze rating, and the gauze is quite high, especially for such small devices. But as I say, the gauze is applied for a very short period of time. And so the average gauze is low, but the instantaneous gauze is quite high, and the shape of that signal is next to perfect. Oh, I think it is perfect. Okay, the coils can produce a magnetic field of up to 200 gauge in strength. It's 200 gauge when you stack them. When you don't stack them, they're 100 gauge each. So each one is 100 miles an hour, and that's 200 miles an hour. Now, I think I saw a question come through. Okay, it hasn't been relayed to me yet. What are the differences in the three settings of MiriMagic? The center knob sets the magnetic field strength. This is this knob here. It's got 3 positions for 3 power levels. The maximum is 200, minimum is 80. Most people would use 200 all the time. If you're very sensitive to frequencies, like some people are, you can select the medium or the low power. If you want to have a battery lasting longer than 8 hours, then you can use the medium or low power again. The battery clips in here. It's a regular small 9-volt battery. You can use a rechargeable battery, and you can also, of course, use the power supply adapter, which is this unit here. Just plug it in. It gets supplied with the MiriMagic, so it's good if you're sitting down watching TV, or if you're swiping away at your phone sitting down, you can use MiriMagic while it's plugged into the power. How long can the coils last? Now, the coils have been designed to last for a long time. We don't design stuff to be replaceable. Not replaceable, to be consumable. We design things to last. But because it's designed for use, wearing, you're going to get a bit of this and a bit of this, a few knocks, a few bends. And so it's going to be subjected to some wear. And so the lifespan really depends on how long how it's treated. If it's always treat it very carefully. And when you pull the wire out from the main unit, you don't pull on the wire, but you pull on the plug, which is a little bit hard to do. If you just pull on the plug, then the coil will last a long time. The wire won't pull out here. If you wear it while you do runs, which is possible, the constant movement in the cable will cause cable fatigue, and the coils will then possibly wear out. Before you use the unit each time, test it with the coil tester, place it over the coils, make sure it's flashing before use. You don't need to do that, you can just place it over your ear, and if your hearing's okay, you can hear the ticking noise as it's going through its programs. So if the coils don't flash, it's time for replacement, and then you just buy another pair of coils. They're not very expensive. Does MiriMate work through a thin layer of clothing, or is coil to skin better? Well, a thin layer of clothing is fine because the magnetic fields pass directly through fabric. And there's a photo of me with 2 coils strapped around me. No, it's not me. But you can see that the fabric is actually quite thick. It's a woolen type fabric. And there's no problems with the magnetic field. The coils will maybe be less than 1/4 of an inch away from your body. And so the magnetic field will be still strong. What is the best way to use MiriMate for knee pain? Well, of course, knee pains are never great, and so you've got to get rid of it somehow. Stack the coils on the inside of the knee. We found that's the best way for knee pain. The other way, of course, is to put the coils either side of the knee. But if you stack the coils, it doubles the magnetic strength and creates a larger and stronger field, and the results seem to be improved. The strap you see in the image here is also supplied with our MiriMate. What is the recommended daily usage time for MiriMate? Well, it's safe to use, so there's no real minimum dosage, if you like, if you want to use a drug term, or hidden danger through overuse. But we do recommend using MiriMate for at least half an hour, because that's how long it takes to complete one full cycle. Isn't it great to have a system where you don't have any risk of overdosing? I'll exit out. I'm pretty sure I saw some other questions come through, so I'll stop my sharing and get back to full screen. Now, I'll take another drink. I've got to do another video after this one, so I'm going to do a lot of talking today. The other video I'm doing is instructions on using a device which I'm not sure whether I'm allowed to announce. So have I announced it? Yes, I have announced it. That's our scalar digitizer. But I won't talk about it now because our focus is on our 2 beautiful magics. Okay, Nick Greenwood, I've seen your chat message come through. It wasn't forwarded to me because I had answered it before. How many times a day can we safely use the 30-minute program? Is there any limit? Well, no, there isn't any limit. You can do it as many times as you like. The battery lasts for about 8 hours, 9 hours. It all depends on the quality of the battery that you use. But of course, if you're using rechargeable batteries and you keep 2, well, you rotate 2, so you carry a spare with you, so you can carry one on the train on the way to work, and when it gets flat, when it gets time to leave the office, you can change the battery and keep on your treatments. You can use them 24 hours a day. There's no problem whatsoever with continued use. The programs in the Magics have both been designed to be extremely safe. Both Magics, both the big one and the small one, have been designed to reverse the polarity regularly, so there's no overall overcharge of your body. Now, people may be a little bit confused about voltage and what's healthy voltage of your body. When people read things on the internet, they read things which have been dumbed down just to promote sales generally of various products. Now, I've got a bit of an aversion with that. If there's something which needs to be said, well, you say it. And I mentioned as an example with the mat, where the PowerPoint presentation said the mat was very comfortable. Well, I found it's reasonably comfortable, but it's not perfectly flat. For me, very comfortable means wafer thin and maybe really soft sponge over the top, you know. And so I've got to say it how it is. It's not fantastically comfortable. I always know the mat is underneath me. But having said that, it's also not uncomfortable. And if you do feel that you need something a little bit more softer, you just put a towel over the top. But I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to say you hardly feel it, okay? But other people do. Other suppliers say that. So one thing, this comment I'm getting around very slowly to make is people say, bandy around the thing, they say, 72 volts is a healthy voltage for a cell. And then we get closer to the truth where they say 72 millivolts. That's a little bit closer to the truth. Then they say negative 72 millivolts, and that's even closer again because it's actually a negative voltage. And so people say, well, therefore you need to have a body voltage because your cell voltage has got to be minus 72. So why isn't your whole body minus 72 volts? Your cells are orientated all over the place. And so it'll be minus 72 millivolts one way, and then the other one will be the reverse. So across your body, you don't get the voltage, even though each individual cell has got this charge. And the charge isn't actually across the cell. The charge is across the cell membrane, which is like the skin that's covering your cell. It's the voltage between the outside of that skin and the inside of the skin. And so across the cell, you actually get zero. So if you use a pulse EMF device, which applies the pulse in a single direction and truly does charge your cell, your body is going to suffer if you apply it for a long period of time. Now, it's a truism that people don't talk about, or the manufacturers don't talk about, because it doesn't suit what they sell. But we truly believe it's important to reverse the signal so your whole body doesn't get overly charged. If our units didn't do that, I'd tell you, okay? But we took a long time in development. We were very much aware that other units could be programmed so they could have sleeping programs and programs specifically for left knee, right knee, and this and that, and making your coffee in the morning. We wanted just a unit that worked. We wanted something which you could plug in, turn on, and know that you had the best chance of being healed. That's what we do. Yeah, I'd make the world's worst salesman, wouldn't I? But that's our units anyway. The mini magic, big magic. And they are actually really good. If I can break company rules and not bring my unit back in because I like it too much, it's got to be good. We do have a mini magic at home as well, but I just find the big magic so convenient because I don't have to remember. I'm the sort of person where I tend to not look after myself that well. You know, if I start getting a cold, I wouldn't do something to try and alleviate the cold or even run a remote program. I just wouldn't normally do it because I'm too busy doing things, you know. But now I've got my big magic. And I'm still kind of lazy. I don't have to turn it on or off, and I don't worry about it. Just have it on. And again, I just forget it. And so it doesn't, I just feel better for it, and I don't have to remember, I don't have to look after myself. I just have it there. Dime a day, cheap insurance. Dime a day. Well, I think that concludes this presentation. I just checked to make sure. Oh, here we go. There's another question, Alan Candrell, and it's a good one too. How does Big Magic compare with the Beamer devices? I don't normally In fact, how does it compare with the BEMF devices that use the patented sawtooth wave? Okay, I don't compare our unit with particular devices because already Spooky has made lots of other manufacturers unhappy because we sell things cheap. We sell things as low as we can make them because our overall aim is to have as many people as possible use our products as opposed to have as much profit as possible. And so I can't compare our unit with a BEMF device, but I can talk about the sawtooth waveform. Now, the sawtooth waveform is not patented, Alan. In fact, I was using the sawtooth waveform within Spooky years ago, before the patent for the BEMF came out. The good thing about a sawtooth waveform is the fact that it contains all the odd harmonics, which is a very important harmonic because they are octaves. There are also harmonics that are produced by a square waveform, but a square waveform does odds, whereas the sawtooth does the even harmonics. It's really, how does it compare? In the waveform, we could have used a sawtooth waveform because we had used it previous, so it's prior art. It's something which I had developed before, so I could have used it. I opted for a square waveform because after the initial spike, there's a greater average power that is delivered, and that I deemed more important. And through the discovery process of the research and the experiments which I did, I found that to be true. And so for my particular experience, if you can get the square wave attack slew rates high enough, you do not need to use any other waveform apart from square. Okay, well, that's the end of the questions. Nothing else. I've invited Echo to the show to talk about her experiences of using Big Magic and Mini Magic. Welcome to the show, Echo.
Thank you.
Now tell us, how did you find magic?
We had Mini Magic about 1 year ago, right? Actually, before that, both me and my daddy was using Mini Magic. There's a rule, actually, for us. I told you many times, if we don't find our own products useful, then we will not share it with our users. Once when I was doing yoga, my yoga teacher was doing massage for me in here and my back. And after that, I found that my neck hurt a lot and I couldn't turn around my neck. And it lasted for several days and it got worse and worse. Then I realized that my nerve has been damaged while he was doing massage for me, very heavy. He was using some tool doing the massage for me. So it got worse and worse, and I freaked out. And then I was thinking, I will give Mini Magic a try, and if it doesn't help, I will need to go to the hospital and check with the doctors. So that afternoon, at about 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon, I put this pair of coils. The one I managed to squeeze one of my this ear into the coil, and I put the coil here, and the other one I put it here, and used the tape to tape it here because this whole nerve I was damaged.
It must have been terribly painful.
Oh, it was terrible, and I was crying, and I think you remember that.
Yeah.
So I kept doing my work, and I forgot about it. After probably 2 or 3 hours, I took it off. I took the coils off, and I tried to, because I was really trying my luck. I didn't expect too much, because that's the first time I was trying MiraMagic. I took the coils off, and I found that I do not have any problem in turning around my necks, and the nerve pain disappeared. That was really like magic. So I told Jay that this is really a magic, So I said that we need to share this product, this MiraMagic, with our users, because it will help a lot of people. That's when I started to gain belief to MiraMagic. That's the first time experience. And after some days, my daddy came to visit us. He was having a very bad toothache. Because it was too much pain, and he had to take a rest after lunch. So he was sleeping in sofa in our place. And normally my daddy doesn't like to be to be put on some machine. So
He's tough.
Yeah, he is very tough. You know him very well.
Yeah.
So while he was sleeping on the sofa, I secretly went to him and put both coils on his face. I put
He's a heavy sleeper.
and I secretly taped the coils around his half of his face.
Yeah.
And he kept sleeping. He didn't notice that. After about half an hour, he woke up, and he got to know what I was doing.
Must be such a heavy sleeper. Gosh.
So he took off the coils, and I checked with him. How did he feel? His teeth. How are the teeth? He told me that the teeth pain was almost gone. So that's when I started to suggest our users that this MiraMagic also is very effective for tooth pain. But remember to, if you use MiraMagic for tooth pain, remember to put level 1 or 2, not to put it on level 3, because the skin inside our mouth is very sensitive, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's best not to put it on the highest level. That's the second experience. And there is another one actually happened to you. I'm not sure you want to share with our users, but it is.
Well, might as well. I've told them about when my left leg was sore, and I used the big magic. That was the most recent time, but there was a time before that.
Yeah. Jay started to have, I think, nerve problem in his pen since early this year. Normally it lasts for about several weeks, and it gradually went away, because he's always working very hard, and he does not have the time to run spine or nerve damage program for himself in Spooky 2. So he always just leave the pen there and does not do anything. But after we have MiraMagic, there's once he got really, really bad. His back pain got really bad while he was taking a shower. I suddenly heard him screaming, shouting in the bathroom, telling me that he could not move anymore because he cracked.
Yeah,
his back.
Terrible pain. I was in agony, and we were just about to go on holiday.
Yes. The flight was about to take off in about 2.5 hours, and we need to. It takes about half an hour to arrive to the airport. So we had to leave in about 1 hour. We had to leave, very soon. So I told him that we can't go to holiday because of your back pain. He said that, I really want this holiday because because we were always working very hard. So we tried to negotiate. I told him, look, how about we try this? I'll give you a massage using the essential oil, and after the essential oil massage, I will put the coils on your back, and we try it. After half an hour, if it works, then we can still go to the holiday. If it doesn't work, we need to cancel the ticket and we stay at home. So he agreed. I used some of the frankincense essential oil, the deep blue essential oil from doTERRA, and the coconut essential oil. So I did a massage for him for about 10 minutes. And after that, I put the cord coil, because cord coil covers more area, larger area. I put the cord oil on his back, and we waited for half an hour. And after we took the coils off, I told him, you have to try very carefully because you may not be able to move. So he got up very carefully and tried to move. And he told me that he couldn't. It is okay. I still didn't believe him because I was thinking he doesn't want me to cancel the tickets. But after confirming with him several times, I was sure that he could. The pain really. I mean, not fully got away, but it's much better. So then we packed everything, and we left, and we went to the holiday. And the next day, we went to the horse ride.
Yeah, that's right. Horse riding. There's me the day before, feeling like a 90-year-old. Honestly, I couldn't stand. I had to crawl, drag myself on the ground. That's how painful it was.
Yeah, it was really bad. But I don't think he has a back pain now. Maybe because of the big magic he's using, because he's sleeping on the big magic every day.
I've told him, yeah.
Okay.
I haven't brought it back in the game because I don't want to.
Yeah, that's my personal experience with mini magic. Of course, we have many other experiences. Like my relatives, they have sore in their knees, so I give them mini magic. And so, because my daddy does a lot of hard work, so sometimes he has injuries. I would always tell him to use mini magic. It is always very effective. For new injuries, we normally only try for about half an hour, and we take the coils off, and we try. We see how we feel, and it always surprises us. So yeah, we are very happy with mini magic. And about big magic, to be honest, I was not very happy at the very beginning because I gave it to my mother. My mother has already had the chronic pain in her spine for many years, but this year it's extremely bad, and also because she has to do some farmer work. It always gets worse. So I gave the big magic to her, and I set up for my mother. And after about 1 or 2 nights, I checked with my mother, how do you feel? Do you feel any improvement? And then do you feel better? My mother, because she didn't want to hurt me, she always said, it's okay. But when she says this, I know that it's not helping much. But then after several days, I got a call from my mother. My mother told me that her back is feeling, her spine is feeling much better. So and also because John had the same experience, we realized that mini magic takes longer than we expected, because it's
big magic.
Big magic takes longer than we expected. It's not working miracles overnight, because chronic pain takes really long to develop. It takes really long to develop a chronic diseases. So it takes relatively long for this chronic pain to get away or to see any improvement. So for our users, I would really suggest that if you are using big magic to treat your chronic diseases, give big magic some some time and have some faith, because it really will give you some good surprises after some days. Thank you.
So thank you so much for watching this, Sama. It's been fantastic having you with us.